I know him. Some of you love him. Cole Cubelic here. Cube Show, SEC Network, Mac and Cube, etc. What did I leave off? Anything?
Tuesday date night podcast. It's okay. I'll tell the wife again. You don't listen.
Yeah. It's
I
just
had a
an inside.
Costco run this week for Tuesday date night.
I
It's
saw that.
intriguing. You're going to want to hear
I
that.
saw, well, she made one. Someone else just stood in the parking lot and filmed like a full-on creep. I can't assume who that was, so we'll just leave that unspoken. You are not famous for that. Well, let me rephrase. You're not only famous for that this week, starring in Tuesday Date Night podcast, co-hosting. Um, I did that thing this week where I was kind of busy. So, you pull up the phone, you're scrolling. Something about Iran. I don't know. We're involved in something over there. All right. In Kurt Signetti versus 2019 LSU. Nope. I'm gonna scroll past that. And then I see you and I see a bunch of graphics that other people made about
Oh,
you allegedly. I'm going to use the index finger. I'm going to wag it. Allegedly just besmirching Auburn fans who are worried about losing Cam Coleman, who are worried about losing Deuce Knight, look, they're just worried that the program's going to implode in on itself like a dying star over losing those two players. And you
yeah.
had the audacity to push back on that, from what I hear, but I didn't have time to watch the clips. So please get me up to speed, defend yourself, take as much time as you need, as long as it's not over 30 minutes, and walk me up to speed on what's happening.
Defend myself. Okay. I would like to take this time to apologize to absolutely no one, in the words of Conor McGregor. Andy Burcham comes on our show every Tuesday. He does a great job. We asked him 1,000 foot view of how things are going under Alex Golesh, the new head coach at Auburn. And he gave a couple great answers, and then the names Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight came out of his mouth, and I just kind of lost it. I not his fault. He wasn't doing this. Not directed at him. And I think maybe being in Atlanta over the weekend at the Peach Bowl and multiple Auburn fans stopping me, asking me specifically about these two players, the amount of texts, DMs. I had DMs from Alabama fans over the weekend asking if they were going to get Cam Coleman. Like I give a rip, especially if he's going to go there. I don't care where he goes, what he's going to do. It doesn't matter. But this hypersensitivity to those two individuals, and this is not on them. This is not an indictment of them. I think they both can be great players. They've both shown flashes of brilliance. I do think it's a fair question to ask how many games Auburn won of them because of last year. As
Or
Greg McElroy said on our show, Mercer, that would be the one that he would provide for you. So if you want to pump your chest out for that one, good, go for it. But when you're talking about a new coach coming in, rebuilding a program, I don't want to hear about guys that are out for themselves and out for the bag and trying to see if they can go and raise their value to go get more money somewhere else. And I understand this is the time in college football where you can move and go do your own thing and be your own guy and go different places. And hell, be TJ Finley for all I care and play at all the schools. Good luck. But I don't think any one player, Josh, ever cripples a program. No program has crumbled when individual player or even let's just say group of players have left. And Cam Newton was the popular response, which, hey, and when I say leave, I'm graduation, NFL draft, portal, kicked off team, whatever. He's a good one. They were terrible the next year. They were in the national championship game 3 years later. So didn't necessarily bring the program to its knees. We've seen this with a lot of different programs, first round draft picks, number one picks, guys that have transferred to go play other places. Guess what? You can get more players out of the portal to come in and hopefully be better teammates, better students, better guys in the locker room, in the facility, and maybe even better football players. And what the portal has done, I think it's driven our brains to a place where only ceiling and recruitability, recruiting stars, like that's what matters. Very rarely, and when we're just talking portal, do we go look at productivity? Because if we did collectively, there'd be a lot more Indianas out there right now. And maybe I'm just overblowing what Indiana has done. And I'm falling way too in love with how they're building their program and thinking that other people can come close to replicating that and seeing the lack of me guys and the guys that are willing to go out there and sacrifice for the greater good of the play or the scheme or the team or other people having success. And it's kind of ruined me a little bit. But it had been overly repetitive with those two names, and nothing was really directed at them. But I'm only going to be fair and say you go out there and wear a pink ski mask to be different than everybody else. You show some clown tendencies on social media when you're on your way out. That guy's carrying your program. And the other part of this is there have been individuals that have carried programs. Cam would be one. There are other guys that have put the program on their back. Like you got your Bo Jacksons and your Herschel Walkers and your guys that carried the program, but you still need guys to allow that to happen. And those are even more so the players I'm referencing. So when you do get said superhero, all the ancillary parts can allow superhero to be superhero because Cam Newton had 4 senior starting offensive linemen. He had multiple defensive linemen that had played 3, 4, 5 years of football. He had Josh Bynes, an inside linebacker that had been a 3-year starter and had probably seen everything that there was going to be to see. A veteran tight end, a veteran leadership in Emory Blake, another wide receiver, and Cody Burns that had spent time at quarterback. So knew all different types of the offense and facets of what things can happen. All of those things allowed him to go be him. Now, is it still the greatest individual season I've ever witnessed? Yes, because there's not another NFL reception or an NFL rushing attempt from that offense in 2010, but it's not a Cam Newton conversation. It's a conversation about how not even he, not even Darren McFadden, not even Derrick Henry, no great player crumbles a program. And that was the frustration level that I was at. It just happened to be that those two individuals were the ones that I was repeatedly being asked about. And I'm just beyond frustrated with the fear from some groups of Auburn fans that don't think it can be overcome. And I don't BS you on this show. Some of that was directed at the Auburn administration and the obsession with trying to say, what can we do to make sure these two people stay? And I literally got to the problem with, I don't give an F what these two people say and if they stay or if they want to stay. Because if they don't want to be there, you shouldn't want them there. And that's what's lost in a lot of this. It's like that's like we go back to this whole situation at Washington. We're going to file a lawsuit to make a kid play for our team. How is that going over in your locker room? Hey, buddy, we know you hate it here and you had more money over there. But if you could come quarterback for us because you're legally binding to, get in there and run the play. How is the bench going to be after that first interception?
Yeah.
Even if it's totally legitimate, great play by the corner. Because I know what I'm thinking when my quarterback, especially when you go deep in, I'm not going to go into the details of what happened when it was released on his social media, but y'all can take a look for that yourself and figure it out. That on top of it, then coming back with all the shenanigans, you go out there and throw 2 picks in the first game, third game, probably not going to be super comfortable.
It was funny when we were at the SEC championship game, or no, when we were at the Peach Bowl. You were down there with Jacob Hester. Who's down there? Roddy Jones. You guys do Alyssa Lang. You're doing pregame on Sirius XM. It's like 2 hours before kickoff. So I walked up. Producer grabs me. I do a segment with you guys during the break before the segment. We're talking about this. And Jacob Hester's standing there, and he's like, "What do you think that Washington locker room is going to be like?" And so, like our instinct, both of you played the game. I'm just sitting there having watched it my whole life, but all 3 of our instincts were the same, and that was, "Oh man, it's going to be a disaster." But then he stops and he says, "But you know what? All I can really say is it would have been a disaster. All I can really say is how it would have been when I played, which is 20 or so years ago." He said, honestly, case by case, locker room by locker room, I could see a world where guys just kind of get it in today's college football. Now, I don't ever want to even pretend that world exists. So like I'm just choosing to think that it's going to be a really, really rocky situation, as it should be, by the way, to try and win guys back after you said goodbye to him. And the only reason you're still there is because on your way out, the door was locked. And you turn around and you say, "Hey, so never mind. Let's go run it back?" Question mark. I don't really know. I have no idea.
There is a part of it where if there's that big of a difference between 1 and 2 and you want to win games, I mean, you can take your brain to a full mercenary lifestyle mindset and just say, "Bro, help us win. I don't need to be around you. I don't need to talk to you. We're not going to hang out. Help us win games.
Yeah.
And let me know what I can do to assist you in being best at doing that." That's possible, but I think what you say is totally fair. A perfect example, like Jacob Hester, then the last thing we would ever tweet is when one of our teammates quit on us. "Go get your bag, homie.
Yeah.
Big things coming. Good luck. Gonna miss my guy." No.
By the way,
absolute opposite mindset of that.
By the way, so I think you and I have talked about this on the phone. I do not ever think we've talked about this particular thing I'm about to mention on the show. You're aware, as am I, of several instances, just in a previous portal cycle. Let's take this last one, where guy leaves your team. Several players on team tweet out in support of said player and trash him behind his back. And you're thinking to yourself, why the performance? Like, why the cosmetics online? What is your best explanation for why, when Cole Cubelic leaves Pate State, I trash him behind the scenes, but me as a player, I hop on Instagram, I hop on TikTok, I hop on Twitter and say, go get it, man. Good for you. Good for you. I love that you're leaving me. Great job.
I don't need a theory. I don't need a hypothesis. I can just give you what it is. When
Hey, quick time out here. Are you subscribed to the channel? It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Please do it. It helps us maintain the show at this level. That's it. That's all I got. Back to the clip.
when someone, specifically a younger individual, a younger human, puts something on Instagram, what's the goal of that? To
Well,
get what?
traction, likes, admiration.
Likes, to get retweets, to get positive comments. It's plain and simple, Josh. It's the fear of not being liked and the desire to be liked and positive reinforcement. And I hate being old man yelling at the clouds here. I'm not, but I hear this mainly from coaches. I see some of it with my children. We try to battle it on a daily basis. It's just wanting to be liked and wanting people to say nice things about you. That's it. I've given you the example before of last year. Player rolls up on his red shirt and has played in a certain said number of games, tells coach he's not going out there anymore. Coach says, well, you've got your NIL money, and that was to play, not necessarily to practice. And that was the disagreement. Player walks. Multiple players, same thing as you stated. I asked coach about why are these guys coming out this next? We had them on TV that week. And the coach said, the funny part about that is 4 of those 5 were on our leadership council and were in my office the next morning, furious about said player not wanting to help in games anymore and going to go on about his day and not just come practice, collect his NIL check, and not be a part of the team anymore. So it's a difficult battle that these coaches deal with because it's a struggle. And you have certain coaches like when Pittman was at Arkansas, he told us straight up, somebody comes asking me for that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Shane Beamer has told us, not only are you not coming to practice with us, there will be a 2-hour window in the evenings when you're allowed to use the facilities. You will not be here when my team is here. I don't need you recruiting other guys to leave and tell them where you're going and how cool it is and what your agent's saying. So you're not allowed at this facility from this time to this time. I am going to help you and give you study hall and give you the weight room and give you the indoor, but it's going to be in the evening when we're all gone. And then you have Lincoln Riley was very public about it. Lane was public early on about it. And I think his changed just a little bit over time. No, we need those bodies in practice. And he's a very good player and he can help our ones be better. So it's a juggling act that's very difficult that is just part of the day-to-day management of this age of being a college football coach.
Look at the calendar. National championship game is, well, depending on when you're watching, a day away, 2 days away. It's coming up. I know a lot of you still need tickets. And look, I've seen the screenshots. I've seen how pricey this thing's going to be. There's no way around it, all right? Unless you've got a very, very connected uncle down in South Florida, you're probably not getting in this game for free, and I'm not here to try and get you in for free. What I can do is I can get you a discount on ticket prices, but only if you go to SeatGeek and then fill up your little basket. Could be 1 ticket, could be 10 for all I know. And if you're the kind of guy that's buying 10 tickets to this game, I want to know you. But nevertheless, once you get to checkout, enter promo code PATE100. That is PATE 100. And if you couldn't already tell, that's going to get you $100 off your order. Guys, this is a big-time memory. I don't care if you're a Canes fan, Hoosiers fan, big-time memory. Enjoy it. Of course, we'll see you down there.
All right. So when I was watching the Peach Bowl, I thought to myself, I think I may be watching the national championship game. Now I was telling myself that pregame. I think the team that wins here is going to win it all. Indiana emphatically wins. And then I left Mercedes-Benz Stadium and I was asking myself, are you going to be able to talk yourself into Miami? Are you going to be able to make enough of a case for him by the time you pick the game? Fast forward a week, I made enough of a case for Miami in my head that I ended up picking them to win the game. Part of it's because I was really vocal about what Miami looked like early in the year. People challenged me on it. I was right. They were wrong. I'm happy about it. I want to plant the flag at the very end. So part of it's just emotion talking. The other part is I think Indiana's been lethally efficient all year. I view them as having cruised at 39,000 feet most of the back half of their schedule. I think Mendoza rightfully won the Heisman and now is playing higher caliber ball than he was en route to winning the Heisman. And if you let him get in any kind of rhythm like Oregon did, you're cooked no matter if you turn the ball over or not. 11 of 14 on third down is pretty insane. Those are video game numbers. What I ask myself is, A, do I think Miami's best is good enough to beat Indiana? My answer was yes. B, I don't need them to do it for an entire season. Can I get them to fly at 40,000 feet minimum over a 4 quarter span? And I convince myself with what they can do at the line of scrimmage, how different they can make third down offensively look for Indiana, how much pressure they can get potentially and just make life a little more difficult on Mendoza. And also how good I saw Carson Beck execute against Ohio State. If I can get that stuff just all in a rubber band ball and you're playing in your own backyard, I think that's good enough to push him over the finish line. So I picked him. I don't know where you landed on this game yet, but either side, like, do you think close game? Do you think Indiana in a rout? Do you think Miami pulls upset? Where do you see this thing going?
Part of me, when you were sitting there explaining that, it's like you've just pulled out your little slip for the lottery, and you're like, if I can get the first number, I'll
Correct.
be. If I get the second number, if I get the third number, the fourth number is the one that I really need to focus on. But if I get all five, if I can get 7 correct numbers here,
Yeah.
jackpot.
I just need third. Once
That's
the
all you
third
need.
ping pong ball, see, it's
That's
downhill
it.
momentum. After the third ball, it's downhill momentum, and we're good. Just boom, boom, boom.
Now, I will say Miami winning this game is not them winning the lottery. There is absolutely a path. There are some concerns that I have with even their path. Let's go back to Miami Ole Miss. You probably sat there at halftime like I did. And if you didn't have a score bug or had not paid attention to the scoreboard or were not watching what the score was, you'd gone said, I don't know, what is this thing, 31-10, 34-5? I
Trapdoor
mean,
theory, my
a
friend. Trapdoor
blowout.
theory.
It was a blowout. And what it did to me, it took my brain to a place that I never thought it would go in a game like that. Because you watch it and you have a full appreciation for what Miami is doing, essentially dominating the line of scrimmage. Now, Pete had to be really active up front. He had to move. It worked against Georgia. Now, what happened with Georgia is they had a couple runs that went, they never stuck with it. All of a sudden, go back to being a drop back team. Same thing with Ohio State. They had a couple runs that went back to being a drop back team.
Yep.
This has happened 4 or 5 times just in this playoff where certain offensive coordinators had found some. Shannon Dawson against A&M. I don't think there was a trick play left in the book in that game and weren't necessarily needed at the time. But I think I know what he was thinking was that anything generic is not going to go. We have to pull something out of our rear ends here if we're going to make this happen. And then finally late in the game, didn't have to because they shoved it down their throat. But I sat back thinking, is this style of ball going to be enough? Because you absolutely dominated Ole Miss for a half and they're down 4. Indiana more efficient than Ole Miss. Maybe not as high powered, high potent, maybe doesn't create as many explosives, but they are more efficient. And the problem that I would have with this is, what if you're Miami and you play 3.5 quarters of perfect that style football, at least on offense and mostly on defense? What's the best case scenario your lead is at that point?
Close.
Without any massive mistakes from Indiana, because they don't make a lot of them. We're talking about like 17-10, 21-14. And you're going to give the ball to Fernando Mendoza in that spot again? So that's the part that I'm very curious of, because these other coordinators, it feels like in these moments have said, not good enough, have to create, have to go get. I don't think Shannon will necessarily do that, but I just wonder what the score is going to be if you play a perfect game under that guideline. Now, if you can get Indiana some mistakes, I don't think you have to worry about it. You can play that game all night long and you'll be fine. You'll probably win by 2 touchdowns. The problem is they don't make mistakes. They're efficient on both sides of the ball. I can't go against this team. We were sitting on the field and I'm telling Roddy and those guys, I said, I'm thinking like 31-10, and I might be underselling it. I said that to McElroy Friday morning. He's like, whoa, no, not like that. Not like that. I picked him to beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. I picked him to win this tournament when it all started. So I'm not going to fade confidence on him now, just because another team that they're going to see is going to have a little bit of something that they may not have seen this year. And I will say this about Miami. This will be a different style punch that they're going to have to take. And they've taken a lot of them and they've delivered them back. Miami's bringing like a Deontay Wilder right hand. It will be different than what they have felt from other teams because Iowa's run game, it can be north and south. It's a little more east and west with how they stretch things out. It's not as have to be right here. I'll say this. I think they're facing the best running back they've seen all year.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a hammer that can find little bitty creases and make you pay for that and then get extra yards after contact. And actually, Charmar played great last week too. Like he was a hammer. He came in, they had double hammers. So this is going to come down to mistakes, man. Like that's it. The quarterback that makes the most mistakes, the defense that busts the most coverage, the team that puts the ball on the ground the most. Think about how dangerously Miami lived those first few games of this playoff. Multiple fumbles that they did not lose. One against A&M when you're essentially going down to try and take the lead, and then you end up getting the ball back again and then get another stop on defense. Like they have, I trust Miami in crunch time. I just trust Indiana more. They are the most efficient team that I have watched in a long time. They are the most technically sound team that I've watched in a long time. They have the best understanding of what conceptually the play is asking for each and every time out, maybe of any team that I've ever seen. The execution, Josh, is off the charts. Like I told you about one specific play that showed everything I needed to see about Indiana on defense. And it's early in the game. It's a run to the left. They have numbers to the left. There was a tight end to the left. They motion another tight end over. 18's kind of like your little H back. And it's literally 5-on-3. Should be 100 yards. So they run the inside zone to the left. The thing starts to collapse down inside. You're like, whoa, this is going to be big. You get a little bit of a good push on the tight end over there trying to set the edge. The play kind of cuts back. You get a twist inside, which if you were to ask for one thing right there as an offensive coordinator, you would say, man, if that front side defensive end would just slant inside, we would be off to the races. Well, he does. And then your nose guard, who is reached, keeps fighting through. Oh, no, the guard's climbing up. I'll fight through him too. And then he kind of just barely on the backside of the running back pulls him down for a 2-yard gain. Like that strain and awareness and understanding. I know it's one play, but those are the kind of things you see on almost every play. That they just give you a little extra and have a little extra understanding of what's being asked. And I think they have just enough physicality to kind of match Miami. I don't think they're going to knock Miami out. But let's go back to our superhero theory that we just talked about a minute ago. Who's the superhero on this team for Indiana? Like, who is their
Mendoza.
Superman, their Batman?
He's the
Mendoza?
quarterback.
How many 300-yard games did he have this year?
Did he have any?
One.
One.
And he just blew out Oregon and he threw the ball 17 times. They don't make him be a superhero. He can be. He shows up at times, but they don't take the field and say, tighten up that cape, buddy. Because if you ain't ready, we ain't winning. That's not how they operate. And so therefore, I think they are the better team. Don't have better players top to bottom by any stretch of the imagination. And I love Miami's team. I love how they operate. I love Malanoga. I love Mario. I love watching Ruben Bain play football. But I think Indiana's a better football team.
You know what's funny? We'll wrap it up on this. Indiana made the playoffs last year. So like on the surface, if someone doesn't know anything about college football, they would look and say, like, why is everybody so surprised at how they're playing this year? They made the playoff last year. Okay, natural progression. They make the national title game this year. If I didn't know any better, I'd look at the sport that way. It's not that they made the playoff again. It's what you just talked about. It's the efficiency levels all spiking 10 of 10 that you're just, I don't know, man. It's college football. It's competitive sport. You're not used to seeing that. So I still classify Indiana as a surprise team this year. That's on the plus side. I think that on the minus side, like if we were to go all the way back to August and I were to ask you what you think then and then what transpired now, looking back, like who were you way too high on? Who were you way too low on? Who surprised you, disappointed you the most? Clemson and Penn State are like universals because most people had Clemson, Penn State easily in their top 10, if not in their top 5. And looking back, I know what went wrong now. I don't think there were many ways to just foresee that in August.
Right.
So I don't even feel bad about that. Like I've got the Florida stench on me. I chose to buy into Florida. I chose to buy into DJ Lagway. That didn't turn out well for me. Are there teams, or at least one of them, you look at right now and say, either how did I whiff so badly on them, or wow, why was I way too high on them?
Clemson's absolutely one. I picked them to win the national championship before the season started. LSU would be another. You have what is viewed as a generational quarterback with a plethora of weapons and multiple individuals on defense that are provided a system that is going to allow them to attack on a very consistent basis. Like that recipe usually equals a lot of wins, and you got your head coach fired. There are a lot of people that were at fault for that. I think there are a lot of things that could have been altered with how they went into games and weren't, but it is what it is. It's done. I'll give you one on the flip side of that. I did not expect Ole Miss to be as good as they were.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't think
agree.
they were falling off the face of the earth, but think about the draft picks that they lost. I mean, you had multiple players across a defensive line that was dominant. Okay. You had wide receivers that were going to move on that were dominant, a tight end that helped you do a lot of different things. You had multiple players in different places, specifically quarterback, that was one of the toughest individuals in all of college football that helped you win a ton of games. I didn't think that thing would be replaced. And if I did, I told you Austin Simmons probably threw for 5,000 yards. Like they may have been at the end of the year better than they were the year before in
Yeah.
different ways. And I think part of that is that superhero theory that we just talked about. They weren't as reliant on certain individuals to just go win games. And Lane told us before the season, he said, y'all keep asking about these receivers. Running back is where we're going to be different. That kid we can lean on, and he can give us explosive plays. And we haven't had that. So that was one that I look at and say, yeah, ahead of where I thought they were. Even Texas Tech, with all the influx of talent, I always find it difficult to think that that's just going to work. Matter of fact, I usually don't believe that that's just going to work. So for Joey to get it where he did, really impressive. Now, you know me, I told you going into the playoff, a little bit of fool's gold with that. Like, I don't really think that they're going to go on some crazy run because of what I've seen on film. Doesn't mean they didn't have an outstanding season, and still way ahead of where I thought that they would realistically be.
Cube Show, where do I find it? Let's just say I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you before. You made some sense today. Where can I get more?
YouTube, you can search Cube Show, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. You can go search it there and find it and see more of what we talked about today. We
All
break
right.
that play specifically down on the episode this week. You can go watch that and see it for yourself.
It's good stuff. And I wouldn't say it. I mean, I'm motivated not to say it, but unfortunately, it is good stuff. And I do love it, no matter how much my name gets maligned by certain people on social. The puppet, especially, was uncalled for.
I'm just waiting for you to put it by your pig back there in the studio.
My pig. That's Floyd. That's not a pig. That's Floyd of Rosedale.
All right. Well, the puppet of Nashville needs to make an appearance.
Yeah, it's not the Foy Sportsmanship Trophy. That is Floyd of Rosedale back there. All right. Let's finish this thing strong Monday night. Appreciate you as always, sir.